up, guys? Tambo here with your weekly core report. It's a big week for Run Pure members across both NBA and NFL. Let's get into the winners. In the NBA streets, YGuy223 shipped for $12,000. Our guy AP joined in the fun, hitting for $8,000. Turning to NFL, it was another great week for us, especially when it came to Showdown. I parlayed my appearance on our premium Thursday night Print Factory show into 61K, featuring a lineup with Dallas Goedert in the captain spot. RPS coordinators were all over the Goedert captain play, appearing not only in my premium attack plan, but Mangone pushed it as well, helping Nadesify ship for over 67K, while Pete Vegas hit for $7,200 over on FanDuel. But the biggest hit came on Monday Night Showdown, where RPS content was all over Kenyon Drake in the captain spot. Captain Drake was pushed on our free Showdown show by special guest Chris Randone, in addition to our Talking Touchdown show with Spread, Tyler, and Title, where Tyler called his shot, nailing the Drake call ahead of shipping $29,000 for himself.
75% of carries, like he's going to be unowned, like low owned because of his price. He's got to be even more low owned as a captain because his price jumps even more. If he scores 2 touchdowns in this one, you could be golden.
Racer 1A joined in with a 10K hit from Showdown. Kanoski 69 hit for 22K as well. Locks rode Drake captain to a 30K score to continue his heater, while I shipped 2 more King of the Beach seats. But the biggest win was by Run Pure member Homebrew, who hit the perfect unique lineup, solo shipping for a monster $500,000. He joined our NFL First Look show to talk about his big night.
Randone just mentioned at the end of the show, the very end, it was the last lineup I made. It was the end of the show, and he said Kenyon Drake captain, and I was like, well, I don't have one of those. Let me make one of those.
Congrats again to all our members. If you want to be featured in the core report, drop your winning lineup in the Members Never Win channel in our premium Discord. If you're not a member, join now. You won't find a better value with all sports included for one low price. Remember, if you're not winning with us, you're watching us win. Till next time, let's keep running pure.
Hello. It's the Cash Show because it's Friday. It's Hoop, it's Mangone, it's Holden. I want to say thank you for your service to all our military veterans that are watching today. Always a very special day for me. And not that I'm a veteran, I just like saying thank you to our veterans. So Cash this week, we get on. Mangone's like, it's not going to be a long show. So we'll get into that for a second because we do have some injury news that we have to look at too. I think the Minnesota Buffalo game was probably going to be at the top of the list for a lot of people. And there's so many injuries there. It might have just shifted the balance of power in that game. Anyways, Hoop, what's going on, man? We're now, 10 days away from Thanksgiving, maybe 11 days. I'm excited. Got a nice week coming up. You doing anything with the kiddos?
For Thanksgiving? Not this year. Last year we went to Dallas and went to the football game. That was a lot of fun. Brother-in-law lives down there. That was a good time, but we're a little busier this year. Both my kids are playing travel basketball right now, so that has kind of filled up our time. And I agree with your statement there on the military, the veterans. Thank you for your service. Really appreciate everything you guys do. So let's see if we can find some cash game winners here. What week is this? 10, 11? I mean, it just keeps going by. Yeah, it keeps going fast.
Every year it just goes by 10. Too fast.
Yeah.
Mangone, good morning. Good afternoon. What's going on, my friend?
I mean, Holden, it's no afternoon here. It's 9 a.m. You and I probably just got up, pretty tired.
Afternoon for Tambo. He's on Atlantic time and it's noon.
That is true. Yeah, he's already
him.
Noon. Yeah,
That's
you guys
true.
are breakfast. He's on to lunch.
For Tambo, it's Atlantic time. The guys might be at lunch over there, but happy to come and break down the cash game show. I think it'll be a little bit quicker, and I have the same sentiment as you guys. Happy Veterans Day, especially a happy Veterans Day to our guy Kyler Murray for serving on the battlefield, doing the Call of Duty for us every single day. So just wanted to say happy Veterans Day to you, Kyler.
Well, he's got a hamstring injury, so he's gonna be playing injured, limping like a hero.
Yep.
That game, oh my God. Have you seen what's going on in that game too with the Rams and the Cardinals? We've got Matthew Stafford with a concussion. He's not playing. And then Kyler's got a hamstring injury. That thing's going to be a debacle. So hold on a second. Let me go look at the defensive prices. Do we have anything here? Where are the Cardinals? The 2-7 this week. So there we go. Maybe we found a nice defense. That's horrible, but who is it? Wofford is the backup there. Anyways, let's get into the quarterbacks. Josh Allen, I wouldn't play him this week. I don't know where you're standing on that. Hoop, we got Mahomes in a nice spot, Tua in a nice spot, Justin Fields against Detroit. Fields just is the number one fantasy quarterback from the start of the year. I guess that would be a redraft thing. Talk to me here. Is this a week that we're spending up? Are we going mid-tier? Is there anybody cheap you're looking at right now? Is Jacoby Brissett a possibility?
No, not for me.
Okay.
But like at the top, if you want to go all the way up, Patrick Mahomes, what is he, 7'8", 7'9"? I have two different price tags here. He's like upper 7s.
7'9".
7'9"
on DraftKings.
Our playbook is pulling an incorrect price tag, so that's
8.5 on FanDuel.
Yeah, that's not great. Okay. If you want to go up there, it's fine. I don't think it's a necessity this week, though. I mean, he's a fine option if you have the salary. I think I prefer the guys in the next tier. You talked about one, Justin Fields. He's finally doing this year what we kind of expected him to do last year, and he just never did it and kind of started a little bit slow this season. Then we started to see that nice, stable floor pop up in the previous few weeks, and then he just fully smashes last week for like 40 fantasy points or over 40 fantasy points. Let's see, 45 fantasy points, 26 before that, 24, 19. So he's just trending in the right direction. Now, do I think he gets above 45 fantasy points this week? No, but at his price tag, you take anything in the mid 20s. Think this is kind of where I want to go in cash games, at home against this really bad Detroit defense. I mean, they looked good last week against Aaron Rodgers, but I think it's, at the point in Rodgers' career where that, dust label might be closely following behind because he's looked really bad. So I expect Fields to have his way here against the Lions, 6'5". Most likely my favorite route. The next guy, if you don't like Fields, I guess Tua at 6'7" is in consideration as well. I mean, he's been absolutely phenomenal. Connection with Tyreek Hill is, I guess, at this point, like second to none. I mean, these guys are just amazing out there. And then you got Waddle too, has looked really good. So Tua, Fields with a lean to Fields, I think this week for me because of that matchup. Now, if you want to go cheaper, few guys to consider. I mean, this would just be a situation for me where I really needed like $1,000 upgrade. If I really thought it was a big time upgrade to maybe at wide receiver, running back, I need $1,000. Daniel Jones against Houston, 5'7". Derek Carr against Indy at 5'6". Trevor Lawrence, I don't mind at 5'4" against KC. So I think all three of those guys are in play, guys to consider. But I really have a strong lean to Justin Fields this week. He's the guy that I want to go with, and I think I can make it work.
Like, what's his rushing floor this week? Is it 60 yards at this point? Like,
yeah,
every
probably
week?
Is. Yeah, I mean, you're starting really. I mean, you're kind of starting with a touchdown. You're essentially starting with a rushing touchdown for your quarterback, which is really good. And he's got an actual touchdown in 3 straight games as well. So, if he continues that trend, I mean, you're looking at 12 points out of the gate without passing the football. Now, do I think he gets 60 yards and scores a touchdown? Kind of do. I mean, I actually kind of do. Yeah. So I'll take my 12 and, whatever he does in the passing game is just a bonus. So I really like Fields this week. I think the field will as well. No pun intended.
Oh, that was quite the pun.
You like
I like the pun, though. Yeah. Mangone, let's talk about Fields for a second here and the dream matchup against Detroit. We are talking just cash. Like, where do you think his floor is as far as the rushing equity? Is it 60 yards and a touchdown?
I don't know if I'd go with 60, but it's high. It's pretty good. It's probably like 40 maybe, but because, just thinking on the lower end of how it can all go really, really bad, but he's going to run.
It's true.
At the end of the day, he's just going to run. And that's good. And the thing that I like seeing now is they're at least using him more in the pass game. It seems like the one thing that you can get concerned about, I think it's something that's more something to think about in tournaments, not as much cash games, just because of what the other options are. But what if they get up, right? The Bears are up 10-0. they are just going to establish the run a bunch with Montgomery and Herbert. And that is like one thing to be slightly concerned about. But the problem is it's like lack of alternatives here with our quarterbacks, right? Like I don't want to spend 7-9 for Mahomes, I don't think, this week. I think that's a tough spot to get to. I don't mind Tua. I think it's a decent spot for Tua. He's someone I would consider, but I don't think I'm going to get there. And then like Fields is the next guy that pops up. And then when I get like cheaper, I just don't even know what else I'd want to go to. Like maybe Jacoby Brissett, but I don't even love that. Like it's really hard. Once you get below Justin Fields, there's not a lot that I want to get to. I mean, Daniel Jones, I guess you can make the argument at 5'7". We know he's got some rushing upside and he runs the ball a little bit and he gets to go against the Houston Texans, but his floor is not as great as Justin Fields. And I don't know. I think it just seems like the perfect week. Like we have this football season being the season of, hey, just target the Lions almost every week, right? And like, I don't know. Feels like a good week to target the Lions with Justin Fields.
They really haven't faced a rushing quarterback since Jalen Hurts in week 1. I mean, since then, you've got Cousins and Geno Smith, who was Mac Jones, whoever was backing up for the Cowboys. Who the hell was that? I can't remember anymore. Tua and Aaron Rodgers. So they've got a whole bunch of Cooper Rush. They got a whole bunch of stagnant quarterbacks. And this week they get to face a rushing quarterback. So we got the Fields thing out of the way. Talk to me here, Mangone. Anybody else here at quarterback that's in the mix?
Not really. I mean, maybe Derek Carr, but like, it's just, I don't see myself pulling the trigger on it. That's what I said. It's going to be a quick show this week, Holden. There's not a lot to like love. Like there's not a lot to talk about at the quarterback position. I mean, I just think most people are going to plug in Justin Fields. If you have some strong read that you want to take a chance on, I don't though. And I just think I'm just going to take the Justin Fields points and move on and hope that doesn't burn me at a spot. And also hope that, hey, maybe he has an absolute monster game and anyone that did fade him, I can just kind of get a leg up on the field. And I love playing running quarterback. So it's going to be hard for me to argue with playing Justin Fields.
All right. Throw us a little like there, the thumbs up. We'd appreciate that. Bottom right-hand corner on the YouTube page, you will see a red subscribe button. It's got a sideways triangle, or it's just a normal one. Maybe it's an isosceles or something. You guys know what an isosceles triangle is? Either one of you? Me neither. I can't remember. What a waste of time teaching us that in school. Huh?
It sounds fancy.
An isosceles? Yeah, it's stupid. They taught us trapezoids and shit. I haven't used a trapezoid one time in my 48 years. So anyways, let's move on to running back. And let's do a little tier since Mangone's like, it's not going to take long. Let's draw this thing out a little bit for Mangone. Let's have a good morning here, Travis. So there's some guys in really great spots here. Who do we need to go up to? Barkley against Houston, who loves getting gashed. Derrick Henry against the Broncos team that gives up explosive runs. Nick Chubb, who could be the best in the National Football League. There's a lot. Alvin Kamara is there at 7.4, ATN at 7.1. What about the 7+ range on DraftKings? What are we looking at here? And do we want to plug one of these guys in?
If I were to play like one of the guys in the 8K range, it definitely would be Henry. I mean, this is the time of year where we start to look to Derrick Henry in fantasy. He typically turns it on towards the end of the season. 8.3, I think, is a very fair price tag for him in a good matchup, I'd say, at home against Denver, favored by 3 points. You look at the recent trends. I mean, he's been very solid for 6 straight weeks. He has 5 games with at least 25 fantasy points. The other one was 20. The targets in the passing game are obviously down with Willis at quarterback, but the touchdown upside is massive. I mean, he's got 6 touchdowns in the last 4 games. Three times he scored multiple touchdowns. So it's going to be him for me if I have the money. Not a necessity in cash games. I think the 7K range is where we'll probably go to. Alvin Kamara in a really good bounce back spot. I mean, the Saints were not very good last time out in prime time. Now they get a matchup against the Steelers. I think he gets back on track. I still like ETN at 7.1K. I like kind of getting exposure to that game. Jacksonville, KC. I mean, you look at ETN, I mean, 28 carries last game, 2 catches, 30 touches. I mean, there's just not many guys that are going to get that many touches. Game script proof as well. Like if they're playing from ahead, he's going to get a ton of carries. If they're playing from behind, he probably gets a lot of dump off. So really like ETN at 7.1. And then Dameon Pierce at 6.3K. It's just too cheap of a price tag for him. He's probably the guy that we definitely play in cash games. Is questionable, limited in practice yesterday. So that is something to monitor. But if he's a full go, just simply too cheap. I mean, 27 carries and, didn't get any targets last time out. But prior to that, 5, 4, 5, 6, active in the passing game as well. And has ability to get close to 30 carries. Have to look at Pierce if he's in. So, more likely than not, you're probably playing 3 running backs, I think, this week in cash games. Wide receiver, I think, I'd say wide receiver is probably the toughest position this week for cash games because there's a lot of good wide receivers, but they're all freaking expensive and it might be hard to get to them. So it's going to be a 3 running back week. Right now for me, assuming Pierce is in, Kamara and Pierce for sure, and then whatever else works. I like ETN. I like that price tag at 7-1. Like I said, I think he gets work regardless of what happens in this game. So that's kind of it. I mean, my player pool, even in GPPs this week at running back, is going to be very tight. I just don't see the reason to really stretch it out beyond these guys. I was doing the playbook before I added. I don't think there's like a standout cheap guy. I put Najee Harris in there. Like, do I want to play Najee Harris?
No.
Fuck no. Like, absolutely not. He's been terrible. And, but he's 5.5. I mean, I might keep him in my player pool for GP. Definitely not a cash game play. Might keep him in there for GPPs, although I really don't want to. And you're shaking your head. So maybe I take him out.
I think his foot, I really don't. People aren't talking about this enough. I think that List Frank, where everybody, he's fine. He just hasn't been the same guy this year. And we saw it in the preseason. Yeah. He just, and Warren's starting to get more work. I get it. I mean, but I just don't see the explosiveness. I go back and watch these games and he does not look like the same dude. And now Warren got 9 touches last time he went out and played.
Yeah. Maybe that. It's definitely not a cash game play, but also on a side note, I like the haircut. That looks nice on you.
Thank you, Hoop. That's so nice of you to say that. I did. I needed to get rid of that.
You usually don't go that short, do you?
No, I'm going to start going shorter too. I'm going back to
covers up the gray better. I noticed the shorter you go, the less gray that's visible.
I feel like there's more gray, but thank you, Hoop. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Mangone, wonderful to see you today again. I'll just keep saying that every time I see you. But are you with Hoop here on the small running back pool in cash, or is there a couple extra guys we could throw in there?
Yeah, I mean, so it's similar to last week where there's no one below 6K that I really want to play. So we can basically eliminate that entire part of the pool for the most part. I mean, especially in cash games, yes, you can eliminate the entire everything below 6K. There's nothing I'm interested in, at least right now at this time, 9:17 Mountain Time on a Friday. Who knows? If news comes in, that could change some stuff. Did Zeke practice on Thursday? Do we know that, Holden?
Did Zeke practice on Thursday? No, but I have a great quote.
It was a limited practice. Okay.
I got a great quote from here we go. He had a good day of practice is what I'm actually looking the tweet right now. Today will be the final test. So we don't know yet. Plus he said Tony Pollard is a man and he's a feature back and he's in great shape. But that's the beauty about having him and Zeke. It's brutal. If Zeke plays, do we just X Pollard out altogether, right? In cash?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hate it, but it's probably not something I can do. Holden, it's just I don't want to be short, but there's 3 guys.
It's fine, Mangone.
There's 3 guys, right? Short. I don't know who else. I don't know who else it is. It's Kamara, it's Etienne, and it's Pierce, and I'm just plugging them in, and it just seems that simple. Yeah. It's because I mean, yes, you can make a case. You can make a case for a Pollard, right? You can make a case for Josh Jacobs because it's a Colts. You can make a case for that too. I don't think it's the worst idea, but at the end of the day, these guys just have elite roles. You got one running back in Kamara that is going to see elite usage. You're going to see in the pass game and the run game. Yeah, a game that is Saints and Pittsburgh. Did I plan on having Saints and Pittsburgh players in my cash lineup in week 10? No, I didn't think that was going to happen for sure at the start of the week, but here we are. It's because it's Alvin Kamara and everything he can do. Etienne's role is just really great, and we get one of the best games on the entire slate. I mean, he's just one of the best running back options right now. It changes. It goes through ebbs and flows each year where there's there's 3 weeks where it's one running back. There was a stretch where it was Josh Jacobs. Now it's Travis Etienne. And we're going to ride the wave until it's time to get off of it. And then Dameon Pierce is just a volume guy at 6'3". That's too cheap. in a matchup that Giants are not good against the run. And also, it's a spot where I think he's going to get so much volume and work. And volume is what's important. And once he gets in the end zone, that's the key with a guy like Dameon Pierce. He's probably going to find his way to get you to double digits. And then when he gets that touchdown, that's where you get to that 20 piece and just it kind of keeps going. So overall, those are the three I'm really looking at. I mean, yeah, sure, I'd love to get Saquon Barkley at 8.6. I just don't know if I'm getting him this week. It's going to be hard to get up there. I wouldn't mind Nick Chubb, but he does have some game script issues and Hunt there always. So overall, I think those are the three safest, and those are the ones that I'm keying in on right now. Yes, the news could change stuff, but that just seems like it's it at running back. There's nothing else that sticks out, at least on DraftKings. I mean, I don't know, maybe FanDuel is something a little different. I know Jonathan Taylor's price tag has been cheap over there, but it's tough at running back this week just because, one, they priced them up too much, and two, there's not that many options to go to because there's a lot of other ones that are priced up higher, or there's like split backfields like Zeke and Pollard and a bunch of those situations.
That Indianapolis offensive line is so banged up right now. You know, I want to get your thoughts on this. I haven't talked to either one of you about Jeff Saturday, right? Mangone, I was watching a video. You got Joe Thomas, longtime player. He's like, this is such an insult to other coaches. I just think it's going to be a complete debacle. Now, maybe things change. Maybe I'm wrong. You can be a contrarian and like the Colts this week. I kind of want to stay away from the whole team and just play a defense against them. What's your thoughts on Saturday?
Well, so I'll say this, Holden. I like that they're doing it midway through the season for 8 games, right? Like that's actually if they hired him at the start, right, in March, and then he's got to do everything. Like it just like the whole process of doing the OTAs and all that crap, that'd be absolute disaster. But for 8 games, why not? Like I heard his press conference and I kind of liked it. He was like, I don't know, I could suck at this, and you know what? I could, and then I just leave, and it's fine. Like, or I could be really pretty damn good at it. I thought it was pretty interesting. It's like Holden. Let's say that we decided, okay, we're getting rid of Holden at RPS, right?
Don't do this scenario.
It's a fun hypothetical. We need a new host, right? And we're just kind of spitballing. We go, let's throw Mikey in there, right? We just decide.
That's a horrible idea.
Mikey never has hosted a show for us before, and he just says, I'm just gonna give it a shot. I would rather give Mikey a shot on week 10 to 18 than give him a shot at the start of NFL. And he's like, running the morning wood show or something, that would be a bad idea. So I think overall, Holden, it's not the worst thing that they did with Jeff Saturday. That's my analogy for you.
Breaking news. Kenny Golladay expected to play against the Texans, barring a setback. Sure. We were all excited about that one. Hoop, any thoughts on Jeff Saturday? Now a head coach in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, they're not obviously in it to win football games at this point. So it's just here you go type thing. Now, if he impresses some people, maybe he gets a chance. I mean, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I mean, why not? I mean, look at what these head coaches do on a week to week basis, how dumb they are. I mean, they get these premier jobs and they're fucking so stupid. They make the worst decisions. Like, is Jeff Saturday really going to be much worse than those idiots? Hell no. I mean, the standard for head coaching in the NFL is pretty damn low. So, I mean, even if you hate the hiring, whatever.
All right, let's get to the wide receivers, Hoopage. We'll start with up top. Like, is there any reason to go to Hill? I think Kupp is taking it completely out of the equation with the Stafford news. Justin Jefferson's in a really good spot with Poyer out and White's still not there, and they've got another cornerback out. Devontae Adams against Indianapolis. There's some top shelf dudes I'm interested in. Jalen Waddle, 7.6. Like, at what point in time do we just start saying this guy is good for 80 yards every week, 80 yards and a touchdown, and at 7.6 we can plug him into cash?
Yeah, so the problem is I went on DraftKings and started plugging in the build that I think myself and Mangone are kind of looking at this week. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, we're priced out on the big dogs this week. It's going to be hard to get up top unless you play 2 cheap wide receivers. So if you go 2 cheap, you can get 1 expensive guy. Now, the problem is there's not 2 cheap guys. There's 1 cheap guy that I think you probably have to play for cash games as of now, Mac Hollins, 4.2K, no Waller. No Renfro, unfortunately, a very sad day. Renfro on the IR. One of my boys, not my boy this year. This year was it was a rough go for Mr. Renfro. I still don't think it's his fault. We can blame like Derek Carr or someone like that. But you probably have to play Matt Collins. So we have one cheap wide receiver. If you want to go another cheap wide receiver, then you can get up to the range. So I really think this week does come down to these last two wide receiver spots and what you ultimately do. St. Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown is cheap. I think he's probably a guy, 6.9K in a game they're probably playing from behind. He stands out as a guy that's too cheap. Christian Kirk at 5.9K, I think is a guy to consider this week. It's really thin. I mean, wide receiver is the toughest part of cash games this week. I think Matt Collins is a guy for sure at this point, 4.2K. If you plug in Matt Collins, like I said, if you play another cheap wide receiver, you can get up to that top tier. So basically this week in cash comes down to cheap wide receiver and one of these studs, or two guys in this 6-ish K range this week. I mean, people are going to play very similar teams this week. It's going to be very, very similar teams. And the biggest decision on, I think, whether you cash or not is what you end up doing here outside of Matt Collins. For me, Matt Collins is probably a lock.
Okay, so Mac is a lock. Where else are we going? Like Amon-Ra is down under 7K.
He's cheap. Yeah. I like him. And then you're kind of stuck with
Kirk.
If you
Christian
go that
Kirk this week.
Yeah, you can go. So without giving the full thing away, that's the option. It's like St. Brown and somebody in the Christian Kirk range.
Okay.
Basically where you're at this week. I mean, Mangone said it at the beginning. I agreed. It's like, it's not like people are going to be on the same ship this week. There's just no way around it.
We don't have to play Samori Toure. We've got enough other plays at wide receiver. What do you got here, Mangone? I know it's going to be a short segment from you.
So here's the thing with receiver. So let's just say you plug in Justin Fields, you plug in the 3 running backs we talked about, and put in whatever defense you want. We put in a 2-5 defense. Actually, if you put in the Cardinals, who I have specifically, 2-7. I have $5,000 left for the 4 spots, right? So you can get creative, I guess, but if I grab Tyreek Hill, I have no money. So that's not happening, right? You can't go up and get a top end receiver this week. Good luck. At least if you want to prioritize it, go ahead. But I think it's going to hurt your overall construction. That's just me. So overall, I'm not doing that. And you're just going to have to kind of play receiver roulette a little bit. Now, maybe it's worth going all the way down to your boy you just said. I don't know, Toure at 3.9.
No, don't do that. I was just throwing his name out because he has a cute name. Fair.
Okay, what about?
Don't do that.
I don't know who this B. Sanders guy is. Braylon Sanders. I mean, he's not going to play, but you get what I'm saying. 3K guys, all these guys down here. If you could find someone that's going to at least run some routes on the field, I mean, Jamal Agnew. I mean, 3.2. If you plug him in, now that gets me some other opportunities to grab maybe some 2 studs. I think what you're going to have is it's going to be a conversation with. You punt one of your receivers to get 2 really good options up top, maybe not up top, but in that tier 2, or it's going to be kind of getting guys in that 5K range. Maybe you dip and get one guy in the 4K range and then go and grab some in the 6K. One 4K guy I really like is Donovan Peoples-Jones. I do think this is a really good spot for this Browns and Dolphins game. This is one game that I think in tournaments I'm going to be all over. I like Amari Cooper too at 6.5. He's one of those spends that going to feel like I might look to go to this week. I think you can make a case for a Christian Kirk and just attack that really good game. Wouldn't hate that completely. Juju's been really solid. I don't think we want to ignore him completely on this slate just because of the safety I feel like he provides. And I don't know how many touchdowns are going to be scored this week. So maybe going to a team that's going to score a lot of touchdowns in the Chiefs ain't a bad idea. I talked to you a little bit earlier in the week, I think. I mean, it's either Hooper or Holden. I forget who, but I think Deontay Johnson breakout game could be coming soon. I don't know if it's this game, but Kenny Pickett got a really bad draw. Hoop always likes to look at the schedule, and Kenny Pickett came in against the Jets, right? Obviously to try and win that game. That's not easy to do as a rookie. Then he has to go at Buffalo for his first career NFL start. Good luck. Then he's got to play Tampa Bay. Yes, we make fun of Tampa Bay a bit, but we don't make fun of their defense. Their defense is pretty good. Then they had to go to Miami and to Philadelphia, 2 really good football teams. I mean, overall, it's been a really tough draw for someone like Kenny Pickett. Now he gets to play against the Saints. I think a Deontay Johnson could finally show that he's here and able to do some stuff for this team. Maybe it's him. Maybe it's a George Pickens. I mean, I know we've talked about him early on. We liked playing George Pickens a bit, and it's cooled off for sure. And last week he only had 3 targets, but I just think that like a Kenny Pickett, like not breakout, but like he's actually going to start playing better because he's not going to be in all difficult matchups all the time, I think. So overall, I don't know. I think some of these guys we're going to take some chances on. We're going to have to kind of create some wide receiver values and like just like kind of like dig deep for some plays. So that's why I'm kind of mentioning some of these guys because, hey, it's not great down here. Do I want to play Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton? I mean, the name Cortland Sutton at 5'6" sounds great, but then when I got to play, Cortland Sutton with him getting the ball from Russell Wilson, and the biggest game he's had in the last 3 weeks is 5.3, which ain't great.
I like the Juju call, Mangone. That's 20 targets and 17 catches over the last 2 weeks. He scored in 2 of the last 3. He's getting.
People forget, Holden, he's a receiver that was in a new offense. Yeah. And when you're in a new offense, sometimes it takes some time to get acclimated and get used to the situation. And then you start to thrive and shine. That's why a lot of people were very worried about Odell Beckham, actually, when he first got to the Rams, because it was a very complex system. And to join halfway through the season, it seemed crazy. But then when he thrived as much as he did, everyone was like, wow, like, this even shows how good Odell is to be able to just like jump in and be so impressive early on, because it's not easy as a receiver to go to a new team, create good chemistry with your quarterback, learn the playbook, especially the Kansas City playbook. I've heard it's pretty complex from what I've heard. I remember Juju, I think it was Juju said, like in the first like 2 months he was with Kansas City, he basically said like he's learned more about actual like offensive football and like being creative than he did with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I don't know. It could be a spot where Juju just thrives and has like a big game, and we might want to be on that for sure. I think it's just a good spot.
I love the Juju. Absolutely love the Juju. What do you think about Juju a little bit more, Hoop? That floor is there now.
I'm always in for Juju. You guys know that, so I like that call.
Sunday, Big T's gonna make fun of you. I can't wait to watch it. You're gonna talk him up, and Big T's gonna make fun of him.
Well, hopefully it works out like last week when he made fun of me about Joe Mixon and compared Joe Mixon to Ezekiel Elliott. Hopefully it's the same result as that, because that would work out pretty well for me.
That'd be something I'm interested in.
That was definitely a bad call on Joe Mixon.
Yeah, Big T's guy. I mean, he's had some good calls. We'll hammer him Sunday though. He's gonna fess up for his mistakes on Sunday.
What other mistakes has he made recently? Is my question.
Oh, a lot, but he forgets about Big T. Like, love Big T. Everyone loves Big T. I'm sure you know at this point. Everyone loves Big T. One thing about Big T, the dude just moves right on from the L's he's supposed to take. He hopes people forget about it. He doesn't want you to hit him with the, hey, you owe us an L on this. He wants everyone to just slide right on past. So I like to hold him accountable. So he'll be held accountable on Sunday.
Yeah. And he's not watching because he hates cash. He hates cash.
I think Big T will not bring up the L's, but if you bring them up and he will take them well, that's what I think. Maybe it's a different view, but he won't bring them up, I don't think, as much. But I don't know, sometimes he does. The biggest thing is you can't get on him or the chat just thinks like you've murdered someone. Like if you call Big T out once, like it's over. Like I'm
coming for his ass on Sunday. I
think we can call him out.
I'm just telling you, the chat gets upset with you. Butthole Jenkins is always lurking in the chat to get on.
Butthole Jenkins just loves him because he likes his name. And that's literally
I can already Big T. Yeah, it's cash show. He won't tune in, so I can tell you exactly what he's gonna say. So, I missed 1 out of 15 calls. Like, what the fuck do you want me to do? Like 1 out of 15. Like the last 14 of these calls, I fucking nailed. I missed one, and you're expecting me to take an L? I'm not gonna get everyone right. Guaranteed, that's what he says.
That was not a good Big T impersonation.
No, but those are the words. Now, that is not like an impersonation. Those are the words that are going to come out of his mouth. All right, like I can guarantee you that.
The content right there was perfect. That's exactly what it was. Mango doesn't want to cross that line, Hoop. He doesn't want to cross the line of being all in on Rip and Tony.
Yeah, I'll come at his ass. I don't care.
I think he does. I personally believe he does a decent job of taking the L's. He will sit there and he will take them. I don't think he'll always bring them up, but he'll bring. I mean, like I listen to Print Factory show. Like he sometimes goes on there. Like he went on literally. He's got multiple times. He's been like, I was on the Raiders and I was wrong. I thought they'd win their division, but I was wrong. So I don't know. I'm a little different than Hoop, but I'm curious to watch on Sunday. I'll definitely have my popcorn. I'm going to see how the reaction is and go from there.
Yeah,
and the best part about coming after Big T, when you got his ass. Like here's the number one tell on Big T. When you got his ass when he sits there quiet. When he goes quiet, You know you got his ass. So that's the tell. That's the tell on Big T if you're looking for it.
But the one thing I'll defend Big T on too is like everyone wants to get him on the Carson Wentz thing. Like he's taking the L a lot there, but it is fun to bring up here.
Yeah, you had to pry it. I mean, I had to pry it out of his ass. Like Holden, you were on the show last year.
That was horrible.
We had to. It was week-long process. It was a month. It was a month-long process to get him to accept responsibility for that one. And he's like, "Well, it's a 40-1 bet. Like, what did I expect to win it?" Like,
my God.
Yeah, because you talked about it forever.
He did. The counterpoint for being like, oh, it's a 40-1 bet. He did talk it up like it was like the greatest thing ever. So like if you can say, hey, it's a 40-1 bet, but you can't talk it up like crazy and then not get hammered after that.
The best one was Winnie the Pujols. The Winnie the Pujols was the best because it basically resuscitated Albert Pujols' career. And he got past 700 because of Tony. So.
I will say, Winnie the Pooh was apparently cheating, though. He was using some bat he wasn't supposed to be using or something.
Oh, I'm sure.
He's using a cork bat? Was it seriously?
You didn't hear about this?
No.
So apparently Martin Maldonado, like, came up to the plate, like, in the World Series with, like, a bat. And, like, when he tried to use it, like, he said, oh, Albert Pujols gave me this bat. And it's, like, an illegal bat or something. Was not allowed to use
That's not surprising at all.
Yeah. So, like, he said he got it from Pujols, and, like, he thought, like, the bat was fine.
I do love it when holier-than-thou people end up doing bad things. Like, he was the nicest guy in the world, and then he divorced his wife, who she was sick and everything, and then now he's cheating him with bats. Good for Albert Pujols, though. He got to 700, and he totally took Big T and said, screw this. I'm not Winnie the Pujols. I'm Albert the Pujols.
I'm Albert the Pujols.
Okay, Mangone. As always, we go to you first on tight end. Foster Moreau is 3-2 with no Renfro, no Waller. We always like him. Dulcich is 3-4. Love me some Dulcich. I mean, why bother in cash looking at Kelsey this week when you got two guys in the low 3-4s?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are going to look at Dulcich and just be like, hey, like, he hasn't disappointed me, kind of like DeAndre Hopkins last week, right? People are just going to plug him in and call it a day. I think he's a good play. I think there's others you can consider. Like on FanDuel, I know Robert Tonyan's too cheap, so I'd consider him over there. I don't mind Tonyan at 3.7, but I'm not dying to get there on DraftKings. I do think some of these cheaper options are better. Higbee's cooled off a little bit. You could try it, but I don't think you need to. Dalton Schultz, he's not the worst option, I think, at 3.8K. Cole Kmet at 3.4, not terrible, but I think Dulcich is still better. Dawson Knox, actually, Case Keenum's there now, so I guess it's not as exciting. So probably not as much with Dawson Knox. Foster Moreau is the interesting one. I think the big debate will be Dulcich or Moreau because Moreau's been okay for us. He's been a decent punt. And, I mean, you get him without Darren Waller and he's 3.2K. And if that $200 goes a long way, I think people will still fire on it. And people have been playing Moreau almost every week for the past 3 weeks. And I don't know. I don't think he hasn't had huge games, but he hasn't let you down completely, right? You're not like, oh, I got burned for playing it. You know what I mean? So I think people will still keep going to him and Dulcich. I think it'll just be those two that you pick between. It's hard to punt even deeper than that just because, like, yes, I'm down to always go to 2.7 or 2.5 sometimes, but they need to be like actual, like real players that I can get behind. And like, I think in cash games, you have just such good options at that 3.2 and 3.4 range that I don't think that drop off is worth it. It is. We do have to mention Njoku. If he does not play, then we have opened up a door for a 2.7K option in Harrison Bryant. I think he would be a really intriguing option that I would be considering at 2.7K if Njoku sits. But I need that to happen. That's going to be very key and important for me to be able to pull the trigger on that.
And right there is James Mitchell. You're basically banking on a touchdown. So you'd rather just...
Yeah, I played James Mitchell last week, but it was in tournaments, right? And it was mainly because of what it did for my full lineup. And I didn't like the tight end position. In cash games, I do think you're taking way too much of a risk with that. Yeah. And I don't think you're going to get that much of an upgrade. Like, I don't know what on earth the upgrade would be. I'd have to know what it is to let you know if I think it's worth it. But I doubt it's going to be that much worth it because of where we're at with our salary this week.
Okay. Hoop. We just go back to Moreau. Is it that simple? And Njoku, who's there?
Moreau. Dulcich? I mean, I'm playing Moreau. I mean, it's 3-2 on DK. Dulcich, I think, is the other guy on DK. Like, I'd be fine with either. I just have a strong lean to Moreau with Renfroe now out as well. No Waller, no Renfroe. Middle of the field's got to be Moreau's area, and I think he can definitely have a big game here. So I'm going to play Moreau. I get if you want to go Dulcich, but it's one of those two for me in cash games. Like, I see no reason. On DK, on FanDuel, it's a $700 difference between Moreau and Dulcich. Dulcich is 5'9", Moreau's 5'2". I'm just playing Moreau over there, and it's just very simple. I just don't need to really look at guys outside of that.
All right, for those of you watching us live, here's the schedule coming up the rest of today. We'll do Eastern time. Talking touchdown, spread Tyler Kurt. Talk about betting some NFL. The NBA rundowns at 2 Eastern, spread Tyler AP, StreamYard. That's another betting show, an NBA betting show. We got the Print Factory, the big boys, JSU, Tony, ODB, Dunkel, coming up at 3 Eastern. NBA Hardwood, 4:45, DC Kurt and C-Dome. And then I'll be on with Tony and JSU from 6 to 7 on the final countdown. The news dump with me and Tambo and Crane coming up at 7 Eastern. We'll make that a quick show as well. If you want defenses, just go to Hoops Playbook. I'm sure Mangone will have some wonderful things as well. Boys, as always, wonderful working with you. Hit the like button on the way out. Subscribe, that little red button. That'd be great as well. And a lot of news coming up. We should know more about Josh Allen, Ezekiel Elliott, and some of these other guys for the news dump at 7 Eastern. For Mangone, for Hoop, I'm Holden. Helmet, get us out of here.